Emanle níbẹ̀ yẹn ò nílé lóko. Ẹ sì kú dédé àsìkò yìí. Hello everyone, it's Aderonke again. I hope your day is going well. Today I'd like to talk about the word omo and what it means in and of itself so that we can gain some insights regarding what our ancestors thought of children. The English call a child child. So we, of course, apply omo when translating English to Yorùbá. We say omo is child, but that's just the closest English word. The word itself is telling us something. How do the English define child? Before we can determine if they have equal meanings, equal value, we have to know how it is defined. The Google Dictionary says a young human below the age of puberty or below the legal age of majority. A child could also be a son or daughter of any age. It could be an immature or irresponsible person. It could be a person who has little or no experience in a particular area. And it could be the descendants of a family of people. It could also be a person or thing influenced by a specific environment. And it has Germanic origins. So before it was adopted into Old English and then Middle English and then of course what we now refer to as Modern English, it came from Germany. Killed is what that is. I cannot tell you what the word killed is in and of itself because I don't speak any German, but that's what became child. The Yoruba omo has its own meaning, and its meaning is multidimensional. So it answers these questions: what they are, what this is, what a child is, what they are, what should be done with them, and what they can do, or what they will do, in fact, if allowed. So what they are is answered through the word. What should be done with them is answered through this word. And what they can do is answered through the word. If you've watched enough of my videos of this kind, you may already have done the translation in your head. But this is what it is when you break the word down to actually listen to what our ancestors are saying through the word rather than finding the closest English translation and adopting the meaning, ideal, and approach to what the English version is. Omo in Yoruba, the o there is a noun maker. So it could be any of these three based on what comes after, based on the verb that comes after. The o here makes this verb a noun. It could be the one that, and it could be the one that won, and it could also be the one that is or the one who is. It could be any of these three. And all of these three possibilities make the word multidimensional. Mo is build. So based on the three possibilities, the three noun maker possibilities, we're told what a child is. The one who is built is the first possibility. All three are to be considered, and that was what our ancestors did. A lot of things that are regarded as esoteric knowledge or this knowledge that we use all these big words for are just possibilities. Certain things are placed in a certain way to make you think. And an example of those is a word like this, omo. If you say the one who is built, then you are acknowledging that the child is designed for a purpose, that there's a predestination aspect to the child. And it's obviously seen in our philosophy. We do akosejaye or esentaye for children that are birthed. More commonly back in the day than now, because people are afraid of their own spirituality, they feel more comfortable with Abrahamic spirituality, and they're not even doing it properly. That's the thing. They're doing a very washed down, rather shallow version of what is done among the people who actually know what the spirituality is, people who are direct descendants from Jesus's family line. So the ones that they do, and the denominations that have been created, and all these things that Jesus really has no part in but it's been dragged into, there's a way that they do their own for children that are birthed to. Anyway, in your Yoruba spirituality, typically do a course the entire, in which we ask, and that is like the receiving the manual, so to say. Who's this person, and how are we to relate with them? At least you're told that to some degree. This person is this, and this is what they're coming here for, and these are the things that they really don't need. It's either going to complicate if they have karmic debts to resolve, or there are just some spiritual complexities. Yeah, just don't do this to them, or don't say this to them, or don't, this is what you should do to make their journey faster. They are going to become some would even go that far, they are going to become an artist, a sculptor. Don't even try to stop them. Just leave them alone. Let them do the sculpting. Don't enforce divination on them if that's what is typically done in the family line. They won't become a diviner. Don't even bother. And if you do train them for that, just know that they're going to become a sculptor anyway. So we believe in the idea that people come to us for a purpose, and that purpose should be taken into consideration for the second step, which is the one who one builds. Knowing how the child has been built, what the physical embodiment or physical manifestation of this soul, knowing what they're built for helps you determine how to build them, which is the second step, the one who one builds. So in this stage, the child is taught or rethought how human life works so they can fulfill a purpose. So whether the parents decide that the child would not be a sculptor, they are going to become a diviner, or they are going to become a healer, and that's what they're going to be good at. Whether they decide that, or they pay attention to, what had been said, if they had asked for some guidance, whatever it is, in this stage, they are thought or rethought how human life works so they can fulfill a purpose, whether it's what they've been created for or not. So they are thought or rethought how human life works. They are built. So you teach them a human language. You teach them how things are done. You teach them, this is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. This is how to talk to people. This is not how to talk to people. So they can, whether you consciously put it into consideration or not, everything that they've been taught, whether by their own parents or by other external forces, would help them fulfill a purpose. And the third step, the third stage, of course, is the one who builds. A child can start to fulfill their purpose, can start to build something right from the first day they're here. So it's not just, the one who's built and then they are you continue to learn even while you're building. So you build and then you're built. That's how it works. So when you ask a question like, Omodume Lunie, which somebody would translate as how old are you, but it's not really how old. It's a child of how many years are you. I have a video on that and I'm going to upload. A child of how many years are you. The omo there is not child. It's at that point that you realize that child is not really what the word is saying in and of itself. Well, child is what we would use for translation. It's these factors, so that I just thought I would chip that in. But the one who builds suggests that they will fulfill a purpose, and that is why there are concrete steps that are taken to ensure that a person fulfills their purpose. For those who honor their egbe, because we also believe that before the child came, they had a spiritual team that they were with and that they discussed what they're here for with. They had a spirit group, so to say. What that means is they are from a place. They are from a specific place with a specific kind of people. And that is their egbe. And by staying in touch with them, they will be helped, to fulfill their purpose. And there are different categories of egbe. There's also the abiku subject, in which a child may not necessarily stay long. They may not really have a particular purpose. Of course, they might be there to teach the mother a lesson, whether positive or negative, believe it or not. They are not necessarily here to fulfill a specific purpose. They just want to experience being birthed, and they're not willing to commit to the human life. They just don't like it here very much, although there's a way to grant them. It's a really huge department that I can't possibly just cover like that. It's, I wouldn't say complex, but rather interesting, and it's just not that simple. But there is that as well. By honoring one's ori through the physical head, you can honor your higher head, and at least you do that, even if you don't pay attention to your, to where your soul is from and who your spirit mates are. Even if you don't do that, at least you honor your higher self, you honor your soul, so that you would be kept aligned with what you're here for the purpose that you're here to fulfill. That's another aspect as well. So there are several schools of thought. Some people believe that a child cannot be distracted, that if they do something, it must be that they were designed for it. But some other people believe that a person can, in fact, be distracted from their life purpose. A person can be distracted from it, or it can be significantly delayed. It can be significantly delayed if the ori is not aligned with it. And it's in those moments that a person feels like, why am I even here again? Because they just feel like they are way off. A person might be fulfilling their purpose and may feel that they are way off, but in that specific case, they will just feel like they are not fulfilling their purpose because they've just not been built, to fulfill it. One can go on and on and on about the complexities regarding omo, but just looking at the word at the surface level, it is the one who is built, the one who one builds, and the one who builds. I find that the general idea regarding fulfilling one's purpose, the general idea regarding that may also be rather myopic. Oh, I don't have a car. And then that really bothers you because there are people who have 17 cars, and you start to think, I'm not fulfilling my purpose, because you don't really understand the bigger picture. The idea of positive and negative is largely a human thing. It's really not that it's either this way or that way. So if a person lives to be 2, it doesn't mean that they've not fulfilled their purpose. If a person loses their life by being hit by a car, doesn't mean that they've not fulfilled their purpose. The way that a person comes in, the way that a person goes out, does not necessarily determine if they fulfill their purpose or not. It's just not that myopic. Oh, I'm not fulfilling my purpose, I have to go meet somebody that can make me fulfill my purpose, and the purpose, of course, would be buying a car or using the latest iPhone. That's the to people who don't really understand. That's the purpose. It's like I'm not. Can you help me fulfill my purpose? I know that I'm supposed to be rich, but that's not really the purpose. That's not really how it works. The child is designed to do something, even if it's not necessarily create something with their hands or with their presence is supposed to build or establish something, however minute or huge that is. They may not have that much to do in the current lifetime, and somebody else may have so much to do. There's this concept of soul level, in which you have baby souls and sort of like what is the adolescence category, and the youth and the mature, and then you have the old souls. And that's another interesting way of looking at things, at why somebody's life may be a little bit more fast paced than the other person, or why physical or verbal activity may be a little bit less than compared to somebody else's. So the essential point of that is one really shouldn't compare. Because it's not the way we see things here is not really how it works. In reality, there's a little bit of a limitation with understanding certain things. We only try. So the one who is built, the one who builds, and the one who builds. And I'd like to know what you think regarding that. So you can see that none of what I've mentioned really aligns to the T with the English definition of a child. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Omo. I'd like to know, what it means to you and what you've come to learn as well regarding just that idea that somebody would come here to do something. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time and for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.
Bàbá mo ní àsúré tètè jẹ gbọ́ngbọ́n wéwé olùfọ́dé ìrọ̀rọ̀ gbígbà èèpọ̀ kan níyàyà bí èyí ẹgbẹ̀sì àwáyé òkùnkùn lójó kú bàbá mi kúkú mọ́ bàbá funfun ní ṣòkòtò funfun ní ẹ̀ bàtẹ́ tí ń bẹ ní ilẹ̀ funfun lọ́jẹ́ ẹni olúfọ́n lọ ló sọ̀rọ̀ lú òun ló bímọ kíkẹ́ lọ́kọ̀ mi sì kàn. Ewe bewe se kule dase o, bilo yagbaye, ari oselu mo ni asure.